I have resisted going as far as you have done in your criticism of the Israeli government. I resist no more.
Israel has finally lost one of its biggest advocates, Piers. Since the beginning of the Gaza campaign, the war against the Palestinians in Gaza, following the attack of Hamas on October 7th, one person who has been very consistent in defending the state of Israel has been Piers Morgan. But it's gotten to a point where it's now undeniable that the actions of the Israeli government in Gaza can no longer be defended. At this point, Piers Morgan was forced to agree with Mehdi Hassan to say that it is genocide going on in Gaza, that the Israeli government has gone too far, that there is no end in sight to the onslaught that is going on, and that the indiscriminate bombing and killing of men, women, and children, and the denial of aid into the Gaza Strip is a deliberate attempt at trying to either ethnically cleanse the Palestinians or to genocide them. And this exchange just shows how Piers Morgan has evolved over the years to come to this situation where he now recognizes that what Israel is doing is actually wrong. But before we get into this conversation, I just want to acknowledge and condemn the brutal killing of 2 Israelis in the embassy in the US. I don't condone any attack on Israeli civilians. In fact, I don't condone any attack on civilians, no matter what their government has done. So it is not justified to attack Israeli civilians because of the actions of the Israeli government, just as it is not justified for Israel and the IDF to be attacking Palestinians based on what Hamas did on October 7th. Now, we can get that one off clear because there are many people out there who are looking at this situation and saying, well, they deserve it. Well, if you're saying that those 2 Israelis who were killed deserves it, then you automatically have to say that the Palestinians who are currently being killed in Gaza by the IDF, they deserve it. You cannot you can't employ a double standard or a different standard, right? But now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get right into the conversation.
You and I have talked about this war in Gaza for ever since it started, this phase of the 75-year conflict.
It's very interesting to know that Piers is beginning to understand that this conflict did not start in October 7th. He now understands, and he is accurately referencing the fact that this war started 75 years ago, or even before that, because when the Zionists started making their moves of creating a Jewish state in Palestine, the local Arabs looked at it with suspicion. Now, the Zionists were very bold, they were very outspoken about their agendas, about their ideas, about what they wanted to create, and that created hostility within the local Arab population. Now, many people would think that it was the Second World War with Hitler's mass murdering of Jews that led to the creation of the State of Israel. No, that just fast-tracked it, that facilitated the process. But Zionism had started before that time. So this conflict is not just 75 years old, it's maybe a little bit longer than that.
And I have resisted going as far as you have done in your criticism of the Israeli government. I resist no more. I think we've reached common ground about what we view is happening and has been happening through this period of this blockade, which frankly is just starvation of the people there, including so many innocent young women and children. And I think that the incessant bombing and killing, and we don't know how many civilians are being killed, but it is on a daily basis. It looks like hundreds of people every day, with no apparent attempt, it seems to me, to have any real plan for how this ends or what happens when it ends, other than...
It is undeniable. Anyone at this point in time who is still looking at what Israel is doing and refusing to call it what it is, you know that person is in denial. You know that that person is not honest. You know that person is not looking for a solution. This person is just so ideologically captured that they cannot be objective in a situation where people are deliberately being killed. I mean, what's the objective anymore? For all the Palestinians to be killed? Is that when the world is going to do something? That's when it's okay for you to be able to call out Israel for what it's doing? No, this is the time to stop this onslaught. What is Netanyahu's plan? Is he going to continue this conflict forever? It doesn't make sense.
If you look at what Smotrich has been saying, probably the most right-wing member of a very right-wing government, he is talking in a genocidal language about kicking all the Palestinians out.
They're not even subtle about their aims anymore. They're not subtle about their goals. It's like they don't care what anyone says. They don't care what the world thinks. They're just going to do what they want to do. And it's so pathological and narcissistic to think that you can just get away with something like this. It's crazy. Do you think that you can just displace... You've displaced these people. They're not able to work. They're not able to farm. They're not able to go to school. They're not able to do anything. They've been bombed left, right, and center. They're traumatized for more than a year. And it's not enough. It's not enough. It's crazy.
So I think you and I have reached a place in the last few weeks where we are in agreement. But my question for you, Mehdi, is how does this end?
No, I think that's a good thing that Piers has gotten to this point. How honest he is about this, I don't know. I don't know how honest he is about this his conversion. But it's important that people that have influential voices like him are able to speak out, they're able to speak up, and are able to say that I have changed my views, I've evolved over time to come to this point where I think it's now undeniable that what Israel is doing is a genocide. And the world needs to wake up. The world needs to step in and do something. If not, never again would happen again.